Hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, and it's the Tom Chenault Show. I hope you are having an absolutely fabulous afternoon wherever you are. Might be morning some places. It could be at night some places. But no matter where you are, we are so happy to see you, so happy to know that you're out there. We have got an unbelievable show for you today. We've got the great Kevin Thompson. You know, he's the MLM attorney. We're going to have a pretty interesting chat with him. I have a feeling it might not be so fun for either one of us, but I can guarantee you it is going to be real. Before we get there, I want to talk about a little housekeeping, some things that happened this last weekend. I was over at the Association of Network Marketing Professionals event in Dallas, Texas. It was a really, really great event. A lot of content, like 60, 70 speakers, so many that your brains were beat in. They did it for no money. I mean, it was one of the great events of all time. Garrett and Sylvia McGrath just put on an epic show. They do all the work. You know, there's a bunch of side players, whether it's Keith Halls or Jordan Adler or Donna Johnson or all the people that pitch in from the board of directors, or the great Sean Murphy or Lisa Grossman or Curtis Broom. But the heavy lifting's done by Garrett and Sylvia McGrath. I want to give them a particular shout out and just tell them thank you. It is really, really great to see them doing what they did. It was a beautiful thing, and I hope that next year you get to the ANMP, and I hope that you will join right now ANMP 2019, the group on Facebook. Before I get to Kevin, I want to talk about a few things. I'm doing a deal. I'm launching this app called Contact Mapping, and I have never, ever seen anything like I've done all these shows. If you take a look at Edgy Conversations, which is pretty interesting. If you look at Raising a Giant, pretty interesting. The Greatest Networkers in the World with John Milton Fogg, Networking Times, The Power of Who, Mr. Schmooze. I'm keeping going. 4-year career, GoPro, 2 chairs, Jordan Adler's new book, Sean Murphy's new book, Jordan Kemper's new book, the new 4-year career. Here's one that just came in yesterday, Alan Steelman. And all these people are on my show all the time. I mean, I've been doing this show for over 12 years. That means I've been doing 52 times 12, whatever that is, 600. I was talking to Kevin earlier, and I multiplied wrong. So that's 600 shows and probably 600 books and 600 people that I put on the radio to promote either their event or put on the radio to promote their training or put on the radio to promote them, because I don't promote companies. That's what I do. And in my entire career, Rob Sperry's The Game of Networking is on that list. I did a big promotion for him. And not once in any conversation in 12 years have I ever said, where's my rev share? And so now I'm standing here at the ANMP, and people are talking about, you know, all these people are doing all these different deals, and they've all got these different streams of incomes that are undisclosed. And, you know, I've been doing this for 12 years. I won't take advertising on my show. And the reason I won't take advertising is because I don't think it's worth it. I don't think that I can, in good conscience, ask you for your money if I don't know that you're going to get leads if you advertise on my show. So if you'll notice, Richard Brooke will tell you he hates my ads on the Genesis Communication Network, because they're not about anything that has to do with network marketing or me. They have everything to do with everything else, because that's the way I roll. And this particular show here is on the radio, and it's also on this Facebook Live. So when it comes time to take a break, I'm going to go to commercial break for the radio, but I'll continue on with Kevin, and we'll just pick up right again. It'll be funny during the commercials, because I'll just do some unbridled ad for somebody. It'll be hilarious. So I just want you to think about that, because this profession isn't about rev share. This profession is about making the profession better. And the nickels and dimes, or the hundreds and the thousands or the millions that I might be able to catch off of the rev share, I'm still going to have to sleep at night. And when I tell you I want you to do something, it's because I believe fervently in telling you to do it, not because, I'm telling you to go to Beyond Leadership with Eric Worre for $5,000 and a VIP ticket for $10,000 because I think it's the best money that you can spend. I bought thousands of tickets to all those events over the years to either give away or let people earn, just because I believe it's going to make the planet better. And I want you guys to think about who you're being about that. And, it's just, I don't like being a paid pitch man. I make enough money in my regular first job to have to do that. So know that not one time in all these years have I ever gotten a nickel. The guy from Edu Conversation sent me a case of books to give away. I will disclose that. And Bob Bodine sent me a case of books to give away. I can't even think of anybody beyond that even gave me free books to give to the listeners. So, Kevin Thompson, tell me a story. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful. Good to be here. I think you forgot the conclusion, though, right?
What was it?
You got to push your son's product, contact mapping.
Oh, no, it's all right. So it's called contact mapping, and it's an app that helps you humanize your address book. We'll get to that throughout the show. You know me. I may not be a paid guy, but I am a worker-inner of publicity at the highest level, so I'm not worried about that. Kevin, you look great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So glad to be here. Thanks for organizing the call.
Well, we're glad to have you. And, there's a lot of controversy by a couple of things that you did. Number one, you are a huge voice out there in the world of network marketing. You have an unbelievable following. People listen to what you say. But you did something that a lot of people think was a little bit egregious in the fact that you didn't go to the ANMP and then right afterward you shot from the bleachers a total hand grenade into the pile saying they ought to vet the companies and the speakers and the whole shot. A lot of people got their feelings ruffled, and first I want to bust you about that because I think that you're a class guy. And from now on, just call us. We'll be happy to talk to you about it. Try to justify our position, even if it's unjustified. Defend our position if it's undefensible, like lawyers do. But I know the reason you did it, because I talk to you all the time, is because of your undying love for this profession and your desire to keep it clean. And you didn't like the fact that you felt like there were some highway robbers on the stage that shouldn't have been allowed to speak. And you do not get to mention them by name. So go ahead and take it away, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. No, I can take my licks. I think the ultimate judge of an idea is whether it lasts over time. Yeah. I'm not really worried about people's feelings being hurt today. The thing that I care about, and one thing that I don't care a whole lot about is diplomacy. I admittedly am not good at it. One of the first things I did in the industry was I tried to pass an anti-pyramid bill in 2008, and the DSA just crushed it. So I learned about the importance of working with people. But at the same time, my business doesn't really rely on being the most liked guy. It's just not that important for me. And so, your request that I respectfully approach the board, I might do that in the future. But at the same time, I believe in symmetry. And I believe that when something sort of is out of balance, balance needs to be restored. And keeping these things in the dark, it only lets the problem fester. Mm-hmm. And that's my belief. And so people on the board at the ANP, they are free to be upset with me. They are certainly free to not refer business. They can talk trash. That's their right. That's your right. At the same time, address the issue. Nobody has addressed the issue publicly, and the reason is it's an uncomfortable truth.
Okay.
And let me take it a step further. All right. And I don't want to. I'll mention one name. All right. Now this is Kevin Thompson calling. I know you don't endorse what I'm about to say, but I think an obvious example is Ted Knighton is a friend of mine. He has been a friend for years. At the same time, he has openly admitted, look, I'm going to promote various companies because laws vary throughout the world. Okay. And I'm going to give press to whoever pays. That's just the way it is. But now one of the companies he was promoting was OneCoin. He gave a lot of air in that bubble. Mm-hmm. And one of OneCoin's top promoters came out on camera, not hidden camera, and said, sorry, guys, it was all one big lie. So the whole thing was a fraud. And there's been no apology. And my point is, a plaque was given to Ted for his contributions to the network marketing profession. I think it undermines the award. I think guys like you deserve the award. You do things by the book. You do things right. But then when you give the award to people that are currently pumping $25,000 crypto token schemes, right? I'm not saying you excommunicate these people, but maybe you wait until they're out of those programs before you put them on stage. Because regardless if a program is illegal or a Ponzi scheme or an unregistered security, all right, I don't want to go there to make anybody uncomfortable, all right? Regardless, let's put those issues aside. Let's at least admit, every single person watching this program can at least admit that a $25,000 crypto token is not a typical network marketing program.
No question.
So let's not put those people on stage to teach about ethics and integrity and how to build a downline, because they're not doing it the way the majority of attendees are doing it. I always look at it from the perspective of the attendee, the average person. I've got a guy in my neighborhood in a weight loss company, a company that I represent. That person doesn't have a deal. That person is selling a lotion, potion, or pill. What does that person need to learn?
Hold it, Kevin. We got to take a break. So it's like,
okay,
and you can't talk about this during the break, even though we're going to be talking, because the radio people are going to miss it. So I'll explain this in a minute, but this is a pretty cool trick we're doing, and we get to chat and just shoot the breeze, and it's going to be fun. So we'll be right back on the Tom Chenault Show.
Sounds good.
Okay, now we're back. So Kevin, yeah, sorry about the surprise hijack, but that's just the way radio is sometimes. You gotta, I wanted to make sure, because everybody's called me out and said I'm such a wimp. So what I wanted to do is make sure I just open this thing up so all those doubters that this was going to be a real radio show would actually hear that that's what it is, and we are going to talk about tough stuff, whether it's uncomfortable for me or for you or not. And that's what you like. You're an attorney and you like to mix it up.
Let's heat it up, baby.
Yeah, so that's what sells tickets. So everybody, I know you love my coffee cup. It says, I have no idea what it says. I am a recovering alcoholic and network marketer. Would you still like to have a cup of coffee? Because I know that I am truly, from the outside world, the most uninvitable guy to a party that could possibly be born because of those two things that are literally my trademark. But yeah, so the contact mapping app, now that we're at the commercial break, is an app that humanizes your address book. I use it to make sure that, when I talk to Kevin Thompson on the phone, the first thing I ask about is his wife. Then I ask about his exercise. Then I ask about his 4 children. Then I talk about his brother-in-law, Bob Dickey, and his new job as the CEO of a network marketing company, and Bob's wife and Bob's children. And I just sent a check to Bob's son for graduating from something. I don't know if it was high school, preschool, middle school. I get like a stack of them. College? Landon?
His daughter graduated from high school.
Is that what happened? I got something in the mail. So, it's 40 cents for a stamp and $25 or $50 back the other direction, and everybody knows that. All of you out there, my address is there. If your kid sends me an invitation, an announcement, I truly always send money back because I think it's unbelievable that they did it. And if I do that, please do me one favor. And after I trade you $50 for 40 cents, send me a thank you note handwritten. Don't let your mom and dad write it for you. Write a nice note to anybody that sent you money as a graduate. And all we're going to do then is say, golly, Neds, aren't the kids great? Go ahead. What do you think, Mr.
Contact mapping.
Contact mapping. Oh, my gosh. The contact mapping, what it's done for my follow-up is absolutely unbelievable, and not my follow-up in multi-level marketing. I heard today something pretty crazy. I heard that somebody very close to me was trying to compete with the contact mapping, and I was just amazed that they had come out and done that and actually said that. Somebody that I love, I conferred and I kind of talk to them, and all of a sudden I hear that they're kind of trying to pull that into their own deal and kind of maybe do an offshoot of it. And I got to thinking about it because I've had a couple hours to think about it. And, it doesn't make any difference, because contact mapping isn't for network marketers alone. It's for every human being wanting to be a better human being, whether it's your bowling team, whether it's your fellow attorneys or your fellow, what were you, a decathlete? Is that what you were?
I was a decathlete about 20 pounds ago.
Yeah, so you're still in the decathlete. You still remember all those decathletes that you worked out with. Yeah, you know those guys. And so every now and then they flicker through your mind. And what's happening to me since I've got this is all my friends from years ago are now flickering through my mind. And instead of letting them flicker by, I figure out a way to contact them, send them a text or a telephone call, and check in on their life, which is unbelievable because they can't believe I did it. They think I'm calling for bond money. And from there on, wait a second, we're back on the radio in 8 seconds, so I got to not tell the rest of that story. Here we go. We're going back to Kevin Thompson. And we're back. It's Tom Chenault, and it is the Tom Chenault Show on the Genesis Communication Network and Facebook, which is pretty cool. We're doing both of them. We've got the great Kevin Thompson, and he's talking about the stage of the ANMP, which is supposed to stand for high standards for integrity, and people with the microphone on the stage had better have high standards and integrity, or they sure as heck shouldn't be on the stage. That's kind of it in a nutshell, right?
That's it in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yep. An analogy would be, if you're looking to lose weight, would you take advice from somebody who's 400 pounds?
Right.
Right. You want people teaching from stage that are doing the right things in the right sort of environment, building the right kind of company, and not one it's an investment program, because it's kind of an easier pitch, right? Give me $5,000, I'll give you 7 back.
Yeah.
That's not a typical down. So that was my point. So various board members were offended. I'm not going to apologize. Maybe you were expecting an apology. The thing is, truth rises to the top, and they're free to come out with their own remarks. It's just, and by the way, I'm not the only person with these views where you should have some standards from a speaker standpoint.
Well, and what we're trying to do. Yeah. But here's what the ANMP was, Kevin. It was a band of merry men. I was one of them. Rod Cook, Marcy Cook, Sandy Cohen, Mel Atwood, Brett Matheny, Lorene Williamson. I'm trying to think of all the people at the very beginning that we didn't have 10 cents. We had a convention and there were, 12 of us, and that was the whole convention. And we really, really fought for distributor rights. Then Garrett got voted in, and Chris Gross, and it shifted from distributor rights and being, David and Goliath to something a little bit more like an educational platform. And so it tried to figure out its way for 3 or 4 years, and we didn't know who we were. And I was all upset because we weren't fighting the wars anymore. And people would say, we can't fight the wars. We're not that. We're education. And that's kind of where we got to. And then all of a sudden this year, Curtis Broom, Sean Murphy, Lisa Grossman, some serious network marketers turned this thing into a soiree. I mean, it was crowded and lots of people coming. And all of a sudden, we're playing big boy baseball, and we were minor league players kind of as a board. And now we know that you are right, and we've got to put together everything that you're talking about. Have speaker applications. Make these guys go through a vetting process. Make sure they've been with their company for a year. Make sure their company's been around for a year. All the stuff you're screaming about is what we need to do, but we also need guys like you. Now, I need to ask you one question before we get off the Ted Knighton rant. Did you not attend his event last year in Amsterdam?
His first one, but not a second one.
Right, and you went there.
And only because, and look, Ted is a friend, and Ted does what he wants to do. But I realized at his event, a year ago, that there was a lot of Ponzi scheme victims there, and my presence on that stage sort of gave that event credibility. Your presence as well, and they used that. They took selfies with everybody, and I said I'm not going back.
To your defense,
until they clean it up.
To your defense, I heard you from the stage look every one of those people in the eye, to the chagrin of a lot of people, and really
I lit him up.
Yeah, and you lit him up. So, and I didn't do that. So he had far more courage than me. I have one more tough question around that.
I enjoy it. If you haven't already gotten that about me, and a little bit of controversy, we can deal with that.
So did you or did you not take, that company was OneCoin that was causing all the problem. Didn't you take a retainer from them?
Yeah, they were a client for 3 weeks.
Now, how do you take clients, take their money, and I mean, is that non-congruent or congruent?
Well, that was back in 2014, and you can do the math. I'll work with anybody. I tell people that just because I work with a company doesn't mean they're clean. And it's like a doctor who refuses to work with terminal patients. I mean, and sometimes, and by the way, the OneCoin engagement was very short, but they stayed out of America. You can connect the dots there. Now, why do you think they stayed out of America? I'm not able to talk about that relationship with the advice that I gave. But my question back to you is, would you rather these people launch on their own and get no advice?
And that's exactly what so many people have told me, whether it was Troy Dooley who said, Tom, or Donna Marie, or any of these people that are going into these companies and doing all they can to get them compliant and not make the wrong moves. That's exactly what they're saying to me.
Sorry to cut you off. One point I also want to make is that's the reason why I write a lot on my website, so people know exactly where I stand on issues. So we've done cryptocurrency articles, and we have been engaged by cryptocurrency companies. We give advice that's consistent with what you find on the website. And so when we say on the website, it's an unregistered security, that's what we're telling folks. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they listen and they stay out of America. Sometimes they fold the doors and give refunds. Sometimes they give me the bird and they disappear and they get shut down 2 years later.
And here's the deal. I joined OneCoin because I heard you were the lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't join
Please
OneCoin.
don't do that.
No, but that's what's going on out there. You know that. Half the people are saying this attorney, I'm not going to mention his name, endorsed this deal. And as a result of that, you should get in. And that's
very dangerous.
Yeah, so that was a setup, by the way. That was pretty funny, I thought.
No, it's fair. Now, anytime that pops its head, which happens about once every 2 weeks, I don't wait around. I mean, I very clearly say I don't endorse anybody. Here I am on your program. I don't endorse any of my clients, even the good ones. I don't endorse them.
Yeah, and that word endorsement's a big word. I don't know that I've ever had a lawyer step into the dark. And so we're going to take another break because we have to pay the bills on the commercial side. And so you have to listen to the commercials. If you are indeed listening on the radio on the Genesis Communication Network, this is Tom Chenault, and we have got the great Kevin Thompson on the radio with us. We're talking to him about ethics in network marketing. We're halfway through. We're going to get a little deeper on the other side of this break, so stick around. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for listening.
So after the break, Tom, if you'd like, we can talk about the FTC's lawsuit against Mobe. We can talk about Herbalife.
We can talk about unregistered securities and whether or not there is any chance in the world that mixing money with multi-level marketing ever makes sense, and I want to know about all that. So
that's a good topic. Let's go there.
So all of you that are kind of hanging out here, if you want to go to the bathroom or you're just kind of flexing there, so that's kind of good. Look at Kevin's body compared to mine. But going back to your old decathlon world, so you love those guys, and so you write them a nice note. Lawrence Pillars, who is a 3-time Super Bowl winner for the San Francisco 49ers. I was at a convention here a couple of months ago, and during the convention, he jumped up, ran out the door with his beautiful wife. His son had fallen off a balcony and gotten injured. And so I just set my contact mapping app every week to text Lawrence. And every week, on my way to my AA meeting on Sunday, I text Lawrence a note that says, hey, man, I'm really, really worried about your son. How's he doing? How's it going for you? And that's a beautiful thing. And he is overcome with emotion. So last night, I'm at a dinner with a guy, and another guy was in a bathroom at an AA meeting, and he has stage 4 cancer. And he literally broke into tears because he had gotten so much love in the AA meeting inside of what he was going through. He says, I don't have any trouble with all the trouble I'm having. I have trouble accepting all the love. And I'm standing there crying in the bathroom with this guy. And I didn't map him. I'm having dinner with my friend Kiki last night, and this guy's name comes up. And here's an emotion that I was crying in a bathroom a month ago, but I didn't map the guy. So I hadn't thought about him again for a month. And had I just put him in, hit the button, it would have reminded me to follow up with this guy once a week to see how he was doing through this stage 4 cancer, the chemo and the radiation. And I would have been a heck of a lot better human being. It was something I wanted to do, but that stuff flits through our brain so fast. That's why this contact mapping makes so much sense. And I'm so excited about it. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got to get it, Kevin. I don't know if you're using it yet, but you need to.
I need to use it. And also, the founder of the company is a good man.
Yeah.
His son's a good boy. I've met him a few times, and he's got a lot of integrity. And I know he worked really hard on the platform.
You met him in Amsterdam on the OneCoin deal.
Yeah. I think his 3-year-old was taking selfies with all the OneCoin participants.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I can't see all these comments, Marianne. I don't know why nothing's scrolling for me, but I feel like I'm flying blind here with all my buddies watching this thing. But we're trying to make.
I don't know if you know this about me. My father's he's been sober for 25 years.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it's a great program. You've done a great job.
Your dad's an AA guy for 25 years?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I've been to a lot of meetings.
So then you can appreciate sobriety at a major level.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not just important for you, it's important for your family. I think it takes a lot of courage.
Gave me my life back. Toughest thing I ever did. And you take a look, let's talk about that. When I get shook up, I scream. And in my life, it's hard to scream because I'm kind of a visible guy. But I look at Anthony Bourdain and I look at Kate Spade, and I'll guarantee you they have the same 10 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times the attention on them as me. And they had no place to get that out. And where AA is great is I can go into AA and be Tom Chenault. I can be an ordinary Joe, and I can scream.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, no matter who you are, you got to be able to do that once in a while. We're going to go back. We're coming back to the show right now. All right, we're back. It's Tom Chenault. It's Marianne Niehaus. I forgot about the great producer, Marianne Niehaus, who is having an unbelievably hard time trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. She's just doing a great job. I love her with all my heart. This is a whole new ball game. If you could see the control place here, you would flip out. It is all computers and microphones and cameras. It's working like a charm for us, but Marianne Niehaus has really got a big job to do. So if you know her, send her a nice note of appreciation. We've got Kevin Thompson right now. He has been doing, we started out hard and we kept going. 2 more books just got handed to me. Here's one by Robert Blackman. No rev share. Here's one by Bob Berg. No rev share. There is no rev share in Tom Chenault's life. It's pretty funny. I may be poor, but I am very happy. And I just don't peddle stuff. I put stuff on this show, or I tell you to read something, or I tell you to go to a seminar, or I tell you to go to an event because I bleed what they stand for. And that's that simple. I tell you to join the game of networking. I tell you to join ANMP 2018. I tell you to go Pro because I bleed it. It's that simple. It's nothing. There's no toaster. There's nothing. You can't buy the stage at either place. You get nothing. So know that, and know that I do this out of love for this profession that took a dead drunk alcoholic out of the gutter and gave him a life for no real visible reason. That's why I love this profession. Anybody has a fighting chance. There is no entitlement. There is no way to buy your way to the top. It is just roll your sleeves up and fight. So we're with Kevin Thompson. We're going to talk about crypto, and I want to talk about crypto a little bit, and then I want to talk about these CBD deals because they're scaring the heck out of me too, because I keep hearing, it's legal in all 50 states. No, it's not. Now I saw the FDA came out against Kratom this morning, which is the most despicable synthetic opiate on the planet, and it just shouldn't be on a multi-level basis. I know Kratom really, really well, and it scares the crud out of me. I saw it almost kill a very dear person in my life. So, Kevin, let's talk about crypto and multi-level marketing out of the gate. What's going on?
They don't fit together. So we've learned a lot over the past few years about what blockchain is and how to do it right. Here's the issue. Forget network marketing. In order for And the SEC has already come out and said, look, Bitcoin is not a security. So basic currencies that are open, that are tradable, that have really vast development teams spread throughout the world, those are pretty much secure. And so what are your popular currencies? It's Bitcoin, it's Zcash, it's my God, I'm drawing a blank. Ethereum Classic. Ethereum's kind of a currency. It's tradable on Coinbase. These things generally are pretty good. Now, when you have these tokens, when you have a new protocol that's being created, what they're doing is they're saying, well, we're going to sell 1 billion tokens or whatever, 10 million tokens, $1 a piece. And over time, the protocol, the network will grow in value. Those tokens will increase in value. And the SEC said this on CNBC literally a week ago. If you're selling tokens and you're taking money and then you're building the company with that money, it's considered a security. And so as a security, you have to register it with the SEC. Now, when you layer a network marketing opportunity on top of that, right, we're going to sell $25,000 worth of some casino token. Are these investors accredited? Are you doing anything to know the customer and to ensure that they're accredited? Is it registered? And by the way, if it's registered with the SEC and it's not publicly listed, you have a $5 million cap. And so a lot of these ICOs, they're raising $40 million. So crypto and network marketing, there's really no way to do it. I've heard a theory that's untested where if you buy a mining rig, right, because part of the Bitcoin network is mining, and the premise is, well, you don't really know what you're doing. Give me the money and we'll manage the machines for you. There's a theory that if you buy the machine and you own the machine and you own the Bitcoins mined from that machine, then that's not a security. I'm not convinced, but there's an argument that could work in a network marketing context because you're selling machines as the product. I think because those machines are managed by other vendors, it is a passive activity. It's a security. So crypto is interesting and it's exciting, and people have tried to find ways to weave it in. But I'm aware of 3 SEC investigations over crypto MLMs. Nobody's surviving it. Nobody's beating the SEC when they come knocking on the door. So it's one of those areas where, with your audience, I'd give it some time, right? Let things shake out.
So let me ask you this. Is there a possibility to make it happen inside of not so much crypto? What if Primerica, with all their licensed brokers, decided to take on a coin, an ICO, something like that? Is the answer to this thing being just exactly like any stock brokerage firm, have everybody be licensed in selling this stuff, Kevin? Would that help?
Well, it would if they were selling a registered. So licensed brokers can sell registered securities. These ICOs, they're not registering the security.
All right.
Troy had a great question. He said, could you accept it as a method of payment? As a method of payment, that's fine. So as a firm, I can be paid in cash. I can be paid in Bitcoin. We don't care. You can pay me in a chicken if you want. We won't accept it, but that's an expression. So as a method of payment, that's different. There is a way for tokens to do it right. What they're doing is it's a SAFT agreement, where it's a simple agreement for tokens, where you buy tokens in advance, and that's a registered offering. So you have to be accredited investors, which is a net worth of over $1 million. You can raise money through a SAFT, build the platform, and then somehow do an ICO later. But that's a very fine line that companies have to navigate, and nobody in our industry has done it.
Cool. And I hate to say, I was a stockbroker, and I've been in this business since Fund America. I went through the Zeke Rewards debacle. I've been around a lot of this stuff, and you think that you kind of have a handle on it, and you think that you're really, they're never going to get us, or I'm not doing anything that wrong. And then they come in and start heaving hand grenades and clawing back commissions and all that stuff, and it becomes absolutely not worth it in a hurry, doesn't it, Kevin?
Well, and the problem is, there's a great book I'm reading called Skin in the Game, and it's all about symmetry. And the risk reward in Ponzi schemes is very asymmetrical, meaning you can make a lot of money and the downside's kind of small. Even if the company goes down and there is a clawback, you pay back 40%, you're kind of anonymous, and you just do it all over again. That's the problem.
Do we really want to go there? Do we really want to go there? Do you really want to go there? Now, how about all these CBD deals? I mean, that's the same thing that we're talking about. It's got to be full disclosure. It's got to be legal in 50 states. It's got to be legal in Canada if you're taking your CBD in. And there is nobody on the planet. I heard about a company owner a couple of days ago that says, oh, no, I'll beat Canada. We're shipping it in there because they're wrong and I'm going to beat them. You don't beat them, do you, Kev?
Oh, my gosh. Well, yeah, there's a guy out there claiming to be divinely inspired, and he's going to beat the regulators. Here, how much time do we have, Tom? So I don't
Plenty. We got 18 minutes.
Okay.
With about 17 minutes of commercials, Richard Brooke. No, go ahead.
All right. CBD is short for cannabidiol. It is an interesting product. It is not as egregious as cryptocurrencies, right? I mean, those are just money games. CBD, it is legal in 48 states. So you're right. It's not legal in all 50 states. That's a misconception. So it's not legal in Nebraska. It's not legal in Kansas. Whenever I have a client that sells this product, I refer them to one of two places that's familiar with hemp, because the ground is shifting by the day. So literally in Kansas, the Attorney General said, it's just flat out illegal, right? Here's what happened, and I'll be quick and let you jump in. The Controlled Substances Act says CBD that comes from seed or stalk is legal. It's exempt from the Controlled Substances Act. So everybody says, well, mine comes from seed or stalk. Well, the DEA says, well, that's all BS, because seed or stalk doesn't produce a whole lot of CBD. It's really coming from buds, and buds have THC, which is marijuana. So the DEA took this position, and they said, we're just going to seize it all. Well, they got sued, and so there's some litigation going on over due process. Here's the thing. Again, not as bad as crypto. There are some intelligent operators where they're getting outside counsel on hemp, and they're staying out of those states. But here's the problem. What can you say as a marketer? And that's the story that you're talking about that broke today. You can't say CBD is a dietary supplement, which means you cannot make structure function claims. A structure function claim is, I take the product, it makes me feel better. You can't say that. So what can you say? That's the problem.
Yeah, I believe that. And those of you that are watching this show, I talked to Kevin a lot over the last week. He's not here to tear this profession apart. You know, he stated publicly he likes behind MLM because he thinks the guy's somewhat straight, even though the guy doesn't like network marketing. He says that he communicates or something about Tina.org. He's an attorney, and he lives in the stratosphere of compliance in network marketing, and we need people doing that so we all stay out of trouble. And we have got to comply with the laws no matter what. That's the most important thing in this entire deal, is that we stay inside of the laws. And it's people like Kevin Thompson and all those places. And I know I'm watching the feed, and I know there are a lot of people watching this thing that are dear friends of mine that are just working their fingers to the bone to try to make things compliant inside of the U.S. markets or the world markets in the things that they're doing. And they're giving it all they got. But I would tell you just not to sell any wine before it's time. Get it approved. Make sure you're staying inside of the lines, because you don't want to cross that line and end up drowning. But worse yet, you don't want to take your entire team down with you because you decided to get overzealous and push something through the python snake that you shouldn't have pushed. Right, Kevin?
That's fair. And look, for your audience, if you're selling a product with a company that has a track record and there's a generous refund policy, you're going to be fine. So now there's a lot of companies that flirt on the edges, right? The $20,000 token deal that we're talking about, or CBD, or undisclosed deals, which we haven't talked about. We don't need to go there if you don't want to. People that have special deals that most people don't get. If you're building a company with a real product, with a good refund policy, in today's regulatory environment, you're going to be just fine. Tom, I do want to say one small point. How the FTC is set up, there's 5 commissioners. 3 commissioners come from the party of the president. So Obama years, we had 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans. Now we've got 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and the FTC swings. Prior administration, they were suing some traditional companies, right? And that scared a lot of people. Now they're not even fooling around with the pyramid word. It's too hard to prove what's a pyramid scheme, because you have to get inside the minds of the distributors. Like, what are they thinking when they buy? Are they buying because they want to qualify for bonuses?
Okay, I will never remember where you are. So you have to write down where you are because I don't have the brilliance enough mind. We're coming back right after this. It's the
written
radio.
down right here. Man, I was laying it down.
Oh, yeah, you had it going. This is so you can finish that. And then I want to talk about upfront money and all the, because I know you've got a rant and a half about, obviously people cutting deals and not disclosing them, and I want you to throw that one out there too. And
we'll talk about it.
For the sake of all these friends of mine watching behind MLM, is it really a guy? I have no idea who that individual is. Ted said he published the name of the guy several years ago, or the woman, but I have no idea who it is. I've got no idea.
Yeah, they're based out of Thailand. It looks like it is a he. It's a couple of people, and they're based out of Thailand.
Are they making all kinds of money? Is this thing monetizing itself for them, do you think, Kevin? Or how do they do it?
I think it is. I've had exchanges with the author, but we never talk about the business model.
Yeah.
But I would assume so. I mean, the economics have to work to justify that kind of effort.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm too old to go down and pick up all those books that I should have had the rev share on, but I could have done that. I could have had that thing.
You know what? Those authors, they should help you push contact mapping.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Right back to city. You know what? It's time.
I can't even imagine saying to somebody, what's my rev share? I mean, it just doesn't even, of all these people, and I've got a floor full of books here, it just never even dawned on it. And I guess that's the way the world goes. I mean, all these guys that want me to drive people I'll never forget that I had this girl here in town that was, I can't think of her name, and I can't think of, the woman was in Richard Brooks' company, his big girl, really, really a huge network marketer. She's over at doTERRA now. But she had a $15,000 cruise that she was pitching on my show. And I said, fine, anybody that needs to go. And this girl right here in Denver, right after the show goes, I signed up for the cruise. And I about swallowed my cigar because I thought I was supposed to at least get like a Burger King certificate out of the deal. Instead, man, she went on the cruise, the other lady going on 5 cruises, and it was a great deal. It was the girl
you got to take care of Tom.
She got her money's
worth.
Take care of Tom. Yeah, that's too funny. It was hilarious. Vodka. So
yeah, of course.
I love this profession, and I love the commercial breaks. It's a chance to say hi to Richard Brooke and Joel O'Malley and Jeff Welch and John Gilardi and the various people listening. Man, there are some people. Troy Dooley, Ricardo, I love you. And Alan Steelman. That guy's a congressman. Congressman Alan Steelman. Your book was that was the yoga book that was at the bottom of it was the last guy. Silave, I know you, I love you. It's really cool seeing everybody. David Green, he's a legend. Josh Higginbotham. I cannot believe he has not invited me out on his boat yet. Robert Podels. It's just really cool seeing how many people are listening to the show under this format before we even get to the radio. And the replay is going to go on and on. So that's cool. Let me see when we come back.
How much time you got?
We're back in a minute and a half. So
I'm going to answer Troy's question. He asked about behind MLM. Does their intent for publishing play into supporting them as valid sites? So when it comes to behind MLM, I'm a fan because he's right 9 out of 10 times. And for me, that's progress. And so if you look at the 10 most recent articles, if you take exception with any of them, that's fine. But you're probably not, because he exposes so many Ponzi schemes. Now, every now and then he targets a network marketing company. And it is biased, certainly, against the industry, which I do have an issue with that. But for the most part, he puts pressure on the Ponzi promoters. And I think that's a good thing, because who else is doing it? Correct. I'm not doing it. You're not doing it. Troy's not doing it a lot. He used to do it more. I had to bail him out of a few C&Ds back in the day. But nobody's doing it. And so that's why I think it's worth at least praising what the site does right.
What about Tina?
I like Bonnie. I like Bonnie Patton. Now, she is definitely biased against the industry, and she's biased against the DSA. That is a reason not to be in the DSA, because the moment you're in the DSA, you're in the crosshairs.
Yeah, I believe that. All right. Guess what? We're going to come back, so stop talking for a few minutes. for a few seconds, for 13 seconds. Try not to talk for 13 seconds. So this is fun. I love the commercials. Hey, Brooke, you have to like these commercials better than the survivalist ones on the radio. We'll be back right after this. Stay here, you guys. All right, we're back. It is Tom Chenault, and it is the Tom Chenault Show, and we've got Kevin Thompson. He has been unbelievable. Took him to the woodshed at the very beginning, wanted to make sure he knows we need him at the ANMP. And we need him prior to the ANMP to help Keith Halls and myself and Brian McMullen and Garrett McGrath. That's the speaker. I think that's the committee in charge of vetting the speakers next year and the companies. But what I can tell you for sure is you have to have a clean background. You have to have been with your company for X amount of time, like a year, and you have to have an unblemished record to be up on the stage. And that's in no income claims. And that's something that's really a little scary. So I opened up that conversation and I didn't even want to. Income claims. Go ahead, Kevin. I saw your face.
No, I wasn't going to go about income claims. You were saying you have to have a clean record. I'm not saying that speakers have to be perfect. I just think if speakers are sort of drinking from a bad fountain, put them in the penalty box for a year or two.
Okay,
and
good.
Put the people on stage that are doing it right. But you know how the profession works. Sometimes somebody cycles into a bad deal and they learn their lesson, they come back. You can bring them back in the fold.
And the name of the game, and you have no idea how many people grab me and say, I should be speaking. And, I think that, number one, you have to perform. Number two, you should be with a great company for a long time. Number three, you should be doing some service work for the profession. Either, I don't care where you're doing it. You're doing it with maybe MLM Watchdog. Maybe you're doing it, whatever you're doing it with. But do it so you're contributing to the profession. Help the ANMP out. Be a volunteer. Get yourself known outside of your company. That's important. So go ahead, Kevin. Talk about, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about paying people under the table and giving people these huge deals?
Yeah, we can go there. I want to finish the thought that I had before the break.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Write it down.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First of all, contact mapping, awesome service. But the thought I was having was that the FTC, in the prior administration, they were going after more traditional companies. They went after FEMA, went after Herbalife, and had a lot of people nervous. Current FTC says, you know what, we're not going to try to prove pyramid scheme anymore. That's what they're doing. It's because it's too hard to prove. And so what they're doing is they're going after companies that kind of like Tina. You want to see how the FTC is thinking, look at truth in advertising. Because Bonnie doesn't go after pyramid schemes. She doesn't make that argument. She says, here's 100 cases of inappropriate health claims. And she documents it. And then she talks about income claims. That's what the FTC is doing. So if you look at their lawsuit against Digital Altitude, against MOBE, which was released yesterday, it's all about inappropriate income claims. It's about making promises about the money that people can make, and those income claims are outliers. And so that's one area where, as a profession, we need to be more careful about, because that's the new strategy of the Federal Trade Commission.
Okay. If you guys want to ask him a question, throw it up on the screen. He's reading the screen, and somebody just said, what do you think about the producers on the blockchain website? Are they Ponzi? I only understood one word of that. So I have no idea what you just said. Do you have any idea?
What was the question?
What do you think of the producers on the blockchain website?
I don't know.
All right. Sorry about that.
I don't understand it either.
Richard Brook, I'm thrilled you're listening. Troy Dooley, I'm thrilled you're listening. We've got icons listening to this, and together we lock arms, and we all shoot outward instead of shooting in. If we circle each other and shoot each other or judge each other, instead of all hold ourselves to a standard that's even higher. Richard Brook, where is my rev share? Wait a minute. There's one. Richard Brooks on. Oh, that's beach money. Where's my 4-year career book? It's got to be here somewhere. I got to get a rev share. So yeah, I can't even find it. Somebody already stole it. So Kim Calabrese and Cody Bateman from Send Out Cards. Great speech at the ANMP. Yeah. So the name of the game is keep the industry better. This association, I don't know about the DSA. They don't let lumpy guys like me into that. But what income
You
claims?
don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in that club.
I certainly don't. What about, are any income claims okay to make? I hear none.
They are. Okay, so there's a great video I'm going to share on my page. It's with Frank Kern talking to an FTC enforcement lawyer, a former lawyer, and it's 10 minutes and it's really brilliant. You can make claims, and if it's an outlier claim, you have to have a clear disclosure in close proximity to the claim, and that's what nobody does, right? They have these outrageous claims. You can make $50,000 a month, and that represents 0.0001% of the group, and the disclosures are buried somewhere on the site. So you can make claims, but you have to have a compliance department that actually teaches people what to do, and that is a huge deficiency that we have as an industry. Very few founders invest in compliance. They just don't do it. Very few founders invest in lawyers. What happens a lot in our case, they'll retain us, they'll get advice, they don't like what they hear, and they disappear. And they don't hire compliance, and they figure, well, if they're doing it, we can do it, you know?
Okay,
and the monkeys start to mirror each other, and you have a problem.
So stand still 1 second. We're going to see you all next week. I want to thank you all for listening. This has been the Tom Chenault Show. Don't you dare hang up. So we're going to keep going. Now we're off the radio. So don't you worry about a thing. I want to talk about these BDAs. So nothing's changing. We're still on the air and we're still going. We just got rid of the radio. So that's the radio show part of it. So they're hosts. Okay. So now we've still got Kevin to talk about the BDAs a little bit, because somebody just said, what is wrong with deals, also known as BDAs? Don't the big guys deserve deals? What do you think of that? That came from the one and only Troy Dooley. It's a setup.
Troy Dooley.
Answer the question.
It's volleyball. He's just said it and he wants me to spike it.
Yeah, so tell me what you think about those.
I have my 6-year-old. Give me a second, guys.
How cool is that, man? That's fatherhood, and that's what's so cool. So what about
it? Man, I love my kids. So BDAs, we've written a lot about it, and it stands for Business Development Agreements, and it's where you have a seasoned networker, and the thinking is, well, they've developed a skill set that has value, like an NFL player, which makes sense, but it makes sense that they should be able to sell that. The problem is the FTC, they say this: whenever somebody endorses a company and there's a material fact that's not known, that if it were known, it might affect the person's credibility, it has to be disclosed. Unless we're talking about celebrities. So if LeBron James sports the Nikes, he doesn't have to disclose because it's sort of understood. But in this scenario, when you have a networker who's in a lot of cases paid upfront money, or they get special placement in the tree, the point is, and companies that have done this have found themselves in some serious litigation. It can be considered fraud because the opportunity being pitched is not the opportunity that the speaker has received. And so that is misleading conduct. And so what plaintiffs' lawyers do is they say, well, there's a conspiracy. The company is working with the networker to mislead the field about how good the opportunity is. When the field, they don't get the same opportunity. So my thing has always been, number one, don't do them. Or if you do them, just disclose. Say, look, this population of people, they get special incentives because they have experience that we want, right? But here's the thing: nobody discloses them, because then all of a sudden the magic is gone.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, you guys. So all of you that are thinking about doing those, and most of the time they take the commissions away. The way they do that is they have the upline cut their commissions in half to pay for it. Most of the time they don't work out, and it's usually a total cluster. And you have to ask yourself if it's worth it to give that guy the big money. And you also have to ask yourself, for that big guy, why isn't he in a position to be able to start his own business like everybody else? There's just a lot wrong with it, in my opinion. What do you think?
I didn't quite hear the question. So if somebody wants to start their own company?
No. Prepaying distributors, paying people in advance. I'm just, I was kind of agreeing with you. It's just
you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Number one, a networker usually is not going to start from scratch. They have a database, so they're pulling that database from somewhere, and now you're welcoming a lawsuit from that company. That company is going to say, "Look, you're encouraging this person to break their contract with us," so it exposes risk there. And then, like I said, regulators can say that there's a conspiracy here to mislead people. I think. The beautiful thing about network marketing is low cost of entry, and anybody can do it. and everybody should start off on the same footing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you start cutting deals, you attract maybe the wrong crowd, just aggressive recruiters. And so short term, it's a shot in the arm, and long term, it might not be the kind of culture you want to build. Because look, if they can be bought in, they can be bought out. And oftentimes they are.
Yeah, and most of the time, I got in one just not that long ago. And at the end of the day, the minute the money stopped, a month later, that individual figured out a way to quit and go do something else. Because I was only as good as the money that I was actually doing it. My company didn't do it. I did it for a guy that I thought had some game. And a month after I stopped paying it, we had an agreed amount of money that I gave him until he could get launched, which was a mistake. So you guys can shoot me if you want. At the end of the day, a month after I got done, he was gone and off to the next deal to make another deal with somebody else. And I got an email a couple of days ago that said, you've got to get on. I want to bring you to an opportunity call with this $1 million earner, this individual's name. And I said, I will get on the opportunity call if you will three-way me in with that $1 million earner, because I really want him to pay me back. And I haven't heard anything. So, yeah, in fact, the guy wrote back and said, I don't really want to get in the middle of that fight. And I go, and I'm thinking, no, you don't. And it's that simple. But, it's
been
just
doing it long enough, it's going to happen.
Yeah, so anybody else got anything they want to do before, this thing could go on till midnight. Kevin's got a 6-year-old. He's got to go babysit. Anybody else got anything that's just they're dying to understand? Lisa Middleton, he's not a CPA, so I don't think we can help you with that one. But anybody else got...
Pay your taxes. I can answer that question. Pay your taxes.
Oh, no matter what. Yeah, tomorrow's tax day, actually. I have to pay some big amount of money tomorrow. So I don't know what it is, but... The CPA called yesterday and said, have money ready by the 15th because it's tax day again. So if there's one piece of advice that I will give you that he just said is pay your taxes without schemes or tricks, because you do not want to go out of business trying to save money on your taxes. Take the right write-offs and pay your taxes. And if you haven't got enough money left over, go make more money. Right?
I agree. Amen. And another reason to pay your taxes is you've got my brother-in-law in Iraq right now, sweating his butt off. And so, people that play games with their taxes and then complain about the government, I don't have a lot of sympathy for them.
Yeah, we agree with you. So everybody, we're going to go home. Marianne, shut this thing down. Have we got any idea who our guest is next week, Mare? No clue. We don't know what we're doing. Okay, we'll tell you next week. We'll tell you. Well, this week we'll tell you who the guest is next week. But it was an honor having you on here, Kevin. And if any of you guys want to be on the show, and like he said before, you've got an impeccable track record and you've done something big in the profession, I promise you, I would love to have you on this show. You don't have to pay me. There's no rev share, nothing like that. It's just making the profession better, like Kevin Thompson just did. I am not going to get a legal bill from him. We love you guys. Thank you all for being on the show.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Good show.